Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
Welcome to this week's episode of First and Goal. This week, you might notice we don't have Primetime 000, so it should be a good episode. We've got Mike FML, we've got Coop, we've got Faz, and we've got new guy Dunkface. Probably don't like to go by Dunkface, so that's what we'll call you. Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Tired
and
sick.
All right. So let's just jump right into it then so Mike can get his beauty sleep, because clearly he needs it.
Please do.
We'll start with topic one. So topic one, Dan, obviously everybody talked about that big trade for Herbert, or trading away Herbert. What do you make of that? Is he done? He tried to spin it. He's got flexibility and he likes Goff. What do you think, Mike?
I've been one of the few saying from the beginning, you trust in Dan. You believe that he has a plan and a thought process, and that he's going to turn it around and get things going in the right direction. Would I have moved Justin Herbert? Absolutely not. Quarterback's important, but I'm also a worse player. So I think it's who he moved him to is probably not the best option because the picks are going to be low. But, again, you got to trust in Dan. He's too smart of a player to, stay down for too long. So if that includes moving a quote-unquote franchise quarterback, then that is what it is. I'm going to believe that he's going to make it right somehow and see what happens on the back end.
All right, so Mike's all for giving a 1-5 team a pass. What do you think, Dunkface? You're completely new to the league. Haven't really seen anything with Dan.
No, he's in my division though. So, and I have the Chargers in primer, so I was fielding some Herbert offers at one point. I think the return he got was too light, and he got QP's first rounder this year is going to be probably a late first the way he's playing right now.
Yep.
So we got one, even if it's an early to mid first, one late first, and Goff, who's a competent quarterback for sure. I'm sure he can win with him if he's as good as the hype is there. But he threw Nwosu into that deal too, who's a good young edge rusher who re-signed for less than $10 million. So I think his return overall was pretty light.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. What do you think, Coop?
Yeah, initially I didn't like the trade at all. I was kind of trying to think back to last cycle when he traded his quarterback and then kind of went to a couple Super Bowls in a row. I was thinking that's why he kind of lost. He kind of won the second Super Bowl. We'll just put an asterisk next to that one. But I thought the quarterback was why he didn't make it back again. Dan says he's a defensive guy, which is what he said on the sit down and one of the other podcasts he joined. He got a couple firsts. He got a third piece there. Initially, I didn't like it. I think the return's okay. He says didn't hurt him last cycle. I'll just trust Dan on this one, though.
All right, a lot of trust for Dan. Faz, you know him probably better than anybody else on here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean this is a pretty standard Dan move. He's been doing this since I've been playing with him in Madden 17. He's never kept strong quarterbacks. I was surprised to see Nwosu go in the deal. He said it was not a scheme fit, which, I trust Dan as far as understanding scheme fits more than a lot of people in the league, so that's okay. I think the thing that's not being talked about, though, is the QB or the QP angle of it. He is a team that basically has, a blank slate of a roster. He's got near unlimited cap, multiple picks in multiple seasons, and he's in a conference that I'm sure he's looking at as, completely wide open. He's got a shot at winning. So, I think for him, why not, make the move, go out, send multiple picks, get your quarterback. Dan's going to, use those picks to help build a defense. He's probably going to end up flipping Goff. So this is going to end up being, he's going to get more picks out of this than just the 2 1s. And I think it really just ends up being a really good deal for 2 teams. I think Dan's going to build a defense out of this. I think QP is going to make a run. He's got a quarterback before the first cycle or before the first offseason even gets here. He can still use multiple picks in multiple seasons to build. I think it's good for both teams. I think they're both going to look back and be pretty happy on this.
All right, so let's move on to topic 2. Topic 2. Now this one initially is this a 2-team race between Pauly and QP, But after this morning's loss to Future, we'll add a third team in here. But we saw Dump. Dump came out hot, and Dump fell apart when he played me. We saw D-Muse. He's kind of fallen apart, and then NYT just got blown out by Prime. So do you think the NFC is basically just QP, Pauly, and Future now? And we'll start with you, Dunkface.
So I obviously don't know these guys as well as some of you do, but in looking at, I've caught a stream or two of each of them and looking at, kind of the scores and whatnot. Dump has every game he's played, he's either won, he started 5-0, or he's been, besides the loss to you, Bomber, but every other game's been, he won or is right there in it. Like, with that Cardinals team, I don't think you can rule them out with the amount of speed they have with Isaiah Simmons, with Kyler, especially in, the meta this year with scrambling quarterbacks and whatnot, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But I think there's a few heads that you can't quite rule out yet, but we'll see come playoff time who shows up.
Okay, so you're still in on Dump. Coop, what do you think?
I'm gonna say no. It's not just a 2 or 3 person race. It's still season 1. We're all kind of, I guess now we're about halfway through the season. We're starting to kind of learn the game a little more. I mean, you can't rule out like Graham, Clink, even with the Saints is doing all right. You got Future back there as the third one that you added in, but yeah, I don't think you can just count it as QP and Pauly. Kind of the NFC's, it's kind of anybody's race. It's anything can happen in the playoffs, but yeah, I don't see it just being a 2 or 3 person race. I think there's a few more guys that are right there.
All right, Fast. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not ready to count Dump out quite yet. The loss, obviously, it feels like the pretty typical Dump loss. He talks a lot. He's super hype. He's in chat. He's ripping up Dan about losing. And then he plays a game and prime time, he gets his cheeks clapped. We've seen that plenty. However, I can give the game a pass just because, if I'm being honest, I don't think anybody has an answer for your team. You've got a crazy offense. You've got Myles Garrett doing just unspeakable things on defense. You can't come out and stop the run because there's Schwartz. You can't come out and play pass D because there's Chubb. So nobody really has an answer for your team. I don't have an answer for your team. So we're going to see what happens if we meet later in the season. So I'm not ready to count Dump out yet. I think NYT and D-Muse, the quarterback, is going to hurt him. NYT, Love can just be so bipolar that, in a playoff game, he can end it for you in about 2 throws. So, yeah, I think, if I was a betting man, I'd have money on QP, but I think Dump is still going to make a push. I think Pauly should be okay. Coop mentioned Clink. He's looked pretty good so far. So I don't think it's just, a 1-2-man race, but smart money is on Q.
All right, Mike, what do you think?
I'm pretty disappointed in my panelists here. This is a layup. Yes, of course it's a 2-team race. What, are you kidding me? Look at the teams involved here. The only 2 in this list that have been consistent are Pauly and QP. Everybody else, up and down, left and right. You can't defend any of them. I love Dump to death. I got a lot of respect for a lot of guys other than that, but it's clearly and obviously a 2-team race. I don't think there's an argument otherwise.
All right, I like it. So talking about that game earlier, and Future won it. Nice rollout with Justin Fields, and that kind of seems to be the thing is rolling out this year. I watched the new Ravens guy. Lamar Jackson's going to be a problem if we're going to allow rollouts. What do you guys think is or how long do you think, if at all, Prime is going to enforce it this year? We have the rules in the rule book. He's posted, I think, a couple times in the update about rollouts. Watch what you're doing. Rollouts, they're illegal, and nothing really has been done about it. Do you think this year something happens, and if so, when? Coop, we'll start with you.
Oh man, this is a tough one. Being as someone who used to have to enforce some of these rules like this, this was always one that would come up every here and there. What you got to look at is you got to kind of look at the game and see, are they rolling out just immediately with no pressure, or did a guy get through and then they're rolling out? The way this game plays this year, guys don't even react. The quarterback can run 5 yards past the line of scrimmage before like the linebackers and anybody turns around to even see them. The big part about this game that's broken though is when you roll out, go all the way to the sideline, and then like I was actually watching a game earlier. It might have been Pauly this morning. Um, Future rolled out, I think, and then like he got all the way to the sideline, almost to the line of scrimmage, like he was going to run, and then all of Pauly's AI defenders, like 3 of them, ran forward. There were 3 guys open behind him. He just kind of threw the pass, and that's kind of just the way this game plays. It's kind of broken. I think somebody's going to probably get in trouble for this later season 1. I'm going to say it's going to happen at some point, but it's a tough one. I mean, it's a kind of a judgment call sometimes. If I roll out, I'm trying not to pass the ball to an AI defender. I might, just run out of bounds for a few yards or something if I get all the way over there. But yeah, I think someone's gonna get in trouble. Maybe this may be the first Madden that it actually happened.
All right, Faz, what do you think? You're one of the guys that has a escape artist quarterback, so you know how it works. What do you think?
Oh man, it's definitely not an easy answer for me. I mean, if we let the Meats offense get away with what it did last season, no, it's not going to be enforced because we saw that plenty. This year, it's rough because of how, as Coop was saying, the AI is just so weird. You can run, directly past somebody and he'll just stand there and watch. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. The thing you can usually tell when it's pretty malicious, malicious intent. You can tell if the ball is snapped, and as soon as it's in your hand, you're ready to go. I certainly wouldn't want to be the one to enforce it because I feel like it is a game by game, a play by play basis. Sometimes in your mental clock just says, "Hey, somebody's got to be coming now. I got to get out of here." And then you watch the playback, and you're like, "Nobody was even close." So, it's not easy. I don't really know what the answer would be for enforcing it, so I'm gonna lean towards no, just because I really don't know how it would be done all that well.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah.
Pardon me for a second while I go probably on a long ramble here. This is a multi-parter, if we're being honest, because obviously some of you have history with me being a little bit whiny in DMs about gameplay stuff. Not naming names, some of you may have history with that.
He's talking about
I'm going to plead the fifth on this one.
Ultimately, the issue is that people can't control themselves. The issue is not necessarily the rollout. The issue is the fact that everything goes to hell, as has been stated, as soon as you inch toward the line of scrimmage, and there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it. Until contains work, until you get a little bit more recognition on the zones, or people just don't do dumb stuff. It has to come down to the user, and users cannot be consistently depended on to actually police themselves properly. It needs to be addressed in Band-Aid fashion. You need to get, if anybody is a consistent repeat offender on this, crime needs to get proof, and it needs to be resolved immediately. You can get away with a warning first. After that, it's got to be suspensions. If you really want this problem to go away, you got to take it head on. Simple as that. And people aren't going to be happy. If you aren't happy about it, don't do it. It's pretty simple like that. You don't have to do this. It's only being done to take advantage of the situation. Some of those situations are not exactly maliciously intended that way, but the result's still the same. And at the end of the day, if it's a issue and if it's a known issue and something that's agreeable that is not what you want to see, you just got to take care of it. You don't have to be happy about it, but there is a way to resolve it.
All right, and Mike, using his knowledge of first and goal, the more you talk, the more points you get. He's in the lead right now with 50. Dunkface, what do you think about the QB rollouts?
Well, for starters, you can tell that Mike has extensive history being the commissioner and laying down the law and primer and so on. But as for the QB rollouts, I mean, you see, so it's this weird mix. When you roll out, both the defenders, they don't engage to you until you're past the line. Yet at the same time, you have the corner that's in a flat, the linebacker that's in a medium zone there. They also just sprint up towards you and just completely abandon whatever's receivers are there, which I think Coop touched on. And Yeah, it's absolutely abusable, which especially with all these guys now that they have abilities, they have escape artists. Once you're out of the pocket, it's impossible to contain, and pursuit's not quite the same thing it is or has been in the past with middle linebackers who could get everywhere. So it's just opening up more and more passing lanes. As for actual enforcement, I mean, I think you pretty much touched on it with the intro, in that Prime also has escape artists where, well, it's going to be a little harder for him, just human nature, to give up that escape artist, basically say, no, you can't just run around and make stuff happen. You can't roll out and then, oh, hey, there's Tyreek running across the field. So, yeah, I mean, I think unless there's, a glaring instance that happens in a playoff game or something, of someone just spamming it, someone abusing it, I don't think anything happens. I think that's what it is for this year.
Some pretty solid points there. So topic 4, and our final topic, looking back at our team draft, you can see, we're about almost halfway through the season. Who messed up? Who do you think right now is looking at their team and their division and they're like, oh, I fucked up, and would probably do it over if they could? Faz, we'll start with you.
Yeah, my answer for this one, I feel bad. This guy's down pretty bad today, and it's only going to get worse with this answer. I think it's got to be Tiny. It's looking bad there in Philly. 1-6 with a division that I would assume he picked because he probably thought he had a good chance at competing and winning. He's at the basement of it. It's not looking good at all. He's got about 18 billion picks with Jalen Hurts, who's clearly probably not going to be usable. So now he probably took the team because he had some young pieces and he had a lot of picks, but now he's got to burn one of those picks on a position that he probably thought was covered, just to get back in this race, with teams he thought he'd probably already be competing with. And then, the Eagles they're already old. So you're already, kind of burning a year of your usable D-line. You're burning a year of your good offensive line. I feel like this team's going to end up in no man's land pretty quick. And I have a feeling that, after passing on his Titans and seeing them in another, pretty winnable division, I would say that Tiny is probably feeling pretty bad right now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even think of Tiny. Mike, who do you got?
Well, I have to discount Tiny because I think the main reason he went to that team in that division is because he wanted to play with KJ. He still gets to play with KJ. I don't think he's ultimately that disappointed in that situation there. For me, it's pretty much a toss-up between a couple of guys. The obvious ones is Finns, who maybe would redo that if he could. Another after that is probably Woods. I don't know if he's exactly loving the Carolina experience right now. And then, let's just throw the big guy in the hat there. Is there any chance that Prime is kind of wondering maybe, did he hurt himself? Did he hurt his soul by leaving his team in Indianapolis? He's watched me tear down all of his banners. He's watched me, replace the Field tribute jerseys with the Foz tribute jerseys. These are things that are going to keep going. We're going to get rid of his legacy. We're going to make it so that he never existed here. I'm going to, make all this stuff happen. And then, Foz is up there to snap it all away. It's just, that's what we are working on. And at the end of the day, Prime's not dominant right now. He could be later in the cycle, but he's doing about what you would expect with the Colts. So what is he proving at this point right now? So those are my options there. If I have to choose one, I'm going to choose Prime because I think that he is not stepping up to the plate and not accomplishing what he set out to do.
All right. Dunkface, what do you think?
So, Mike, first, I got to ask, did you take down that Colts divisional banner, too, that they have hanging up there in Lucas Oil?
I take down every banner associated with Primetime 000. He has been stricken from my record books. His championships that he parades around the 18, they don't exist. They all have asterisks. If he wants to claim them, that's fine. But his franchise, he put all of his eggs in one basket, and that basket has been thrown away. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, so looking through the teams, I think another guy who's kicking himself is NYT with the Washington football team without Fitzpatrick, but with Jordan Love. You combine the team selection and the Jordan Love acquisition. He's had some of the same problems that you just talked about with Jalen Hurts, in that kind of inconsistent, hit or miss on even hitting open guys. And the way this Madden's been is it's offense, and that Washington team is built on the D-line. And even still, he said he's struggling to get pressure rushing 4. So I think he's a guy who definitely wishes he took a more high-powered offense that could, really make some things happen and wasn't depending on, these pass rushers who aren't getting pass rush.
Yeah, that was definitely my pick. Coop, you want to finish this up? Who do you think is regretting it the most?
Yeah, so I had a couple guys I wrote down. I did think about putting NYT on there, but season one, he'll figure it out later on. That's still a good team with a lot of good pieces, so I kind of crossed him off. My top answer is agreeing with Faz here. I picked Tiny. So I have a second answer, and both of these answers are for the exact same reason. So you got all three Tennessee fans over the Titans in the NFC East. Tiny obviously picked Philly to follow KJ because he picked right after. That Philly team is going to get really old really quick. He's not doing well this season, so they're all older. Um, he's probably going to be regretting that. If he's not already at season 2 or 3, it's going to happen. My second pick to this would be Colt 45. He did the same thing. He picked right after his buddy Noel. He picked the Rams. Rams are good to start. They are missing a lot of picks. They're going to get old. He's going to lose Donald at some point. So he probably doesn't regret his pick yet, but I think season 2 or so, it's going to be Colt regretting the Rams and following Noel.
Yeah, I could see that. He was actually one of the more surprising picks when he made it. I didn't see him going Rams. All right, so that's going to do it for this week's show. And this week, he used his knowledge to get more points, and it was Mike FML, 68 points. So, Mike, these 30 seconds, all yours.
This one's super simple. Finns, this message is directly for you. Hear me out, man. We all love you. We all appreciate you. Fix your damn microphone internet issues. I can't deal with it anymore. Get it done. If we need to get like a Make-A-Wish, a crowdfund source thing, we can do it. We can make it happen, man. I need you to fix this because you're on too many shows for me to deal with that many audio issues. Period. Thanks.
Yeah, I would say get with Coop because his microphone sounded really good tonight. So thanks for being on, guys. I know we got the Patriots and the Buccaneers actual NFL game getting ready to come on, and I'm sure everybody's getting ready for that.
Paulie hasn't reminded us of that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's probably been about 15 minutes since he said something. So enjoy the game tonight. Thanks again for being on, guys. Till next week, this has been First and Goal.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.